So Wooper is a pretty big Shelf Anneal player. I guess the avatar should have given it away. Now, this is still the 4th week of Season 6, so this was before Shelf Anneal got her 3-cost skill. But even without that, Shelf Anneal is usually bad news for a slow push team, especially one that doesn't have Juggler. However, in this case, Wooper does not ban my Juggler, so I get to pick him up. This does make the Shelf Anneal pick he does after this pretty ineffective. He also lets me have Liana, who is one of the best AoE healers. He did go with a second pick Old Landius, which is a good choice. Old Landius is very good at map control, and he's also very good for late game if it's two slow players playing against each other. Because of course Old Landius can just push people out of the middle, and you can take the middle, let your opponent die in the fog. In this case I think Shelf Anneal was the wrong choice since he let me have two big AoE healers. Wooper has a very legend heavy box here. I actually think Rachel or even Claret would have been a better choice here. It can be tough for Rachel to kill Landius these days since most Landiuses go with Lancer Landius now. And Claret runs into a similar issue with a lot of tanks now because so many tanks are running Blood Pact. And not only does that make it a little bit difficult for Claret to kill anybody, especially if Thorns happens, just because of how much HP there is, there's also the fact that the Blood Pact prevents the buff block from her 3-cost skill, which is actually one of the big reasons it was really strong. The passive block of course is still good if you want to kill Landius in one life, or just disable Juggler's attack, because of course passive disable removes his attack conversion. But anyway, my ultimate point here is that I think either one of them still would have been a better choice than Shelf Anneal, because he kind of let me pick a AoE counter team, so the only real choice he has left is to try to take the middle and try to push me back until the fog kills me. So you may have noticed that I am running Treant guards on Landius. So I've actually had Treants trained since like Season 2. Way back I had the mistaken assumption that they would protect me from unicorns, and they sorta do, but only if you also run Lancer Landius. Because if you run Cav Landius with Lancer Soldiers, he'll just run in front of them most of the time. Now, since Season 2 I have barely used the things, pretty much because of that flaw. But recently, since I swapped to Lancer Landius, I started using Treants quite a bit again. After raising Heavy Centurions up, I gotta say I am really disappointed with Heavy Centurions instead, and I have a newfound appreciation for the Treant soldiers. If you go take a look at their stats, you'll see that Treants have very high base attack. In fact, their base attack is so high that it's probably not too dissimilar to Heavy Centurion's attack when they are being attacked. And I'm actually saying that in regards to them not being at 100% life even. If they are at 100% life, Treant guards actually hit really hard. And you're going to see that in a second here. So first, Wooper uses Shelf Anneal to run up and attack me. So he had his old Landius tiles down, and I think what happened here was that he mistakenly thought that he could move away after using this AoE. Which of course would have been possible if he had dispelled the Move Again aura off of Landius. But that wasn't the case, so he has to move his Landius up to guard Shelf Anneal, or else she's just gonna die. I don't think he was actually gambling. I think he genuinely must have forgotten, because I think that's way too big of a gamble to be taking. Because now I can just jump in Juggler and lock down his entire team. And his Shelf Anneal has Shrine Minions, but he's also not equipped with a Med Ring. So Matthew has no problem just eating through those with Ragnarok. And here comes the Sun Slash from Landius, and you can see, even with Treants not at 100% life, they actually managed to take Landius down the rest of the way. Now granted, his Royal Cavs were also broken, but remember that my Landius' attack is garbage, so a lot of the work being done here is by the Treants. Anyway, I guess this video is just to make myself feel better about investing into Treants, because at one point I did regret investing into them, but now they're kind of redeeming themselves in my eyes.